Hello, and welcome to another show of Talking Positive with Randy and Alan. I'm Alan,
And I'm Randy.
and today our guest is Toya Robinson. Welcome, Toya.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here.
How about giving us a little background of who you are and what brought you here?
So I am a interior designer. I am also a single mom of four now adult kids, um, and a grandma, believe it or not. um, and I came here because I wanted to share a little journey about self-esteem when it comes to women and just women that grew up without fathers and things like that. And I know a lot of women suffer from this, from low self esteem, and that thing can really affect how just how you live life, how you move in life, and even like what you would go for in life. Um, and I just want to just share that journey and even share a couple of tips on like how to overcome that.
It's great that you want to share this, but how are you able, or how have you been able to go through your journey with a positive attitude?
It wasn't always like this. It took a lot of self reflecting and just really pinpointing like why I was behaving certain ways or like why I was scared of certain things and that type of thing. And growing up as a young girl, I didn't think I was the prettiest thing, and unfortunately, in the society we live in, just being dark skinned was just not the thing to be when I was coming up. And so we wasn't definitely like the it girls or anything like that. And all of that contributed to that, along with not having my father there and just really wanting to be told that and made to feel, you know what I mean, that I was more. And yeah, so that carried on for a really good portion of my life, probably like from I would say childhood up to maybe 30, when I first started to just really like, okay, like I need to really like dissect this thing and see like what this is, you know what I mean? Because I would meet people and I was a really kind person. And I would meet people and they would just tell me, like, you don't know what you are, you don't know, you don't even know your value. People used to say things like that to me. And I didn't ever get it, you know what I mean? But after a while, as I got older and I really started analyzing those things, it was like, well, let me just take a look, at what they're talking about. And at first I thought looks, I thought beauty. Because by the time I turned 18, I was really, I was really feeling my looks then. I grew into my looks and I was really like, like I was attracted to a lot of people and things like that. And I thought that that's where it came from. But it didn't come from that because even that got old. And you appreciate looking nice, but that gets really old and being told, oh, you look good or you're sexy or whatever. That gets really old. So, and it definitely doesn't create self esteem. Um, but where I found it when I started to look at actually who I was, just as a person
Insight.
inside. What is it about you? You know what I mean? That's so great. You know what I mean? Like, what is it that people see, because people used to really be attracted to me and things, and just my personality. And I had to like really look at those type of things and grab a hold of those things and start building from there, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I started to see like, oh, like I'm pretty cool, I'm pretty great, and I have really good character. And like I was a very giving person, very kind person, a driven person, especially like when I had my kids, when I set my mind to things, I would go full blast, like going into those things. And I just that's what I was. And I started to really look at that. And the more I looked at it, the more I became it. Because now I recognize it and I can actually see it, and it's like, I am pretty cool. And I just kind of went from there, and that carried me, especially like in my career. I am an interior designer, and just the fear of like talking in front of people and all that kind of stuff. Like I have no fear of that. Like I am very, I'm very talkative and just a people person, and that really that confidence in myself and like who I was, that really helped me out a lot in that area.
So one of the things that we kind of champion on the show is like when people do go through things, the process that they did to come out of it. So for you, at the lowest point that you felt yourself being at, how were you able to overcome that to get to a place where you could start feeling positive and remaining in that headspace?
Like I said, it took a lot of soul searching for me. You know what I mean? Like, because I was it was bad. Like, it was really really bad. I had been through a lot coming up, and those things really created layers of low self-esteem, low confidence. You know what I mean? Like, you're not good enough. You know what I mean? Even in relationships, you know, like you're not good enough to marry. You know what I mean? Like you're only cute. You're not good enough for this. You're not good enough for that. You know, and just you realize, you know, when you have that low self-esteem, you only look in those areas, unfortunately, for those very people that tell you you're not good enough. You don't look beyond that because you yourself don't think you're good enough. You know what I'm saying? So once you start to, like I say, analyze yourself and just learn, because I tell my daughters are 17, 25, and 30. And I tell my daughters all the time, like, find out who you are. Because once you get that, you know, once you find out who you are and you got that, nobody on the outside can erase that. Nobody on the outside can like deter you from like that thing. You know what I mean? Like, I am this, you know what I mean? And it ain't because somebody said so. It's like just who I am. And if you can get that, if you can find that, like, that's golden. That is the ticket.
Did you, during the process of your low point, to grow out of it, as we were just talking, did you reach out to anybody or any organizations, or did you try to become part of an organization?
I'm gonna tell you some things that did happen in that process, especially with the business and stuff like that. I joined a lot of like BNI groups and stuff like that. And when I did that, what I found was there were people who actually believed in me more than I believed in me. And when they did that, that really helped. You know what I mean? Because they saw things in me that I couldn't see. And not only did they see it, but like when you're in that kind of atmosphere, you'll act a part. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I hate to say fake it till you make it, but you will act a part. You know what I'm saying? And you will slowly evolve into that. You know what I'm saying? The more you, because if you're making those moves and you're becoming successful with those moves in whatever, in building self-esteem or whatever it is, if you feel that thing happening, you know what I'm saying? Like, that thing itself creates more self-esteem. You know, it'll drive you, it'll drive you
Mhm.
until you become, you know what I'm saying, really, really like whole in that. And yeah, that was a really big part of it. I didn't join like any like women's group or anything like that. I'm a very self-reflecting person. I'm always trying to pluck and see like what's going on. What is that? You know, I do that a lot. So
Going through the things you went through as a young black female and having three daughters, how are you relating your experience to help them go through any struggles they have to go through?
it's rough. It's really rough because you're fighting up against some really powerful things right now, especially with the social media and things like that. Because they believe that items and status, you know what I'm saying, is what creates you,
Hmm.
and they're fighting this battle. You know what I mean? That's a superficial battle. It really is, because you know you get these items and you realize you're mentally you're still in that same place. You know what I'm saying? You haven't grown, you're still stuck, you know. And with my girls, they're no different than any other young women that's on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, they see all these things and they want that and they want to do this. And it's like, even my 25-year-old, I have to constantly tell her, you are where you're supposed to be. You know, you're not supposed to be a millionaire right now. You're not supposed to be, because she believes she's behind in life. And I'm just like, no way. You're like, you're just starting life. Like, no, like, you're right where you're in
Definitely.
school. Like, you're right where you're supposed to be. You
Right.
know, just stay on that path. And I've told her many, many times, like, you have got to see Jada. You got to know who you are. If you don't find that, you know, what I mean, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be fulfilled. And that is like most of the people, the young people out here, they're suffering from low self-esteem, low self-worth. You know what I mean? Not even knowing who they are. I mean, if you don't know who you are and you don't have that, I don't know how you ever get to like a settled place. You know what I mean? I don't. You'll be chasing things forever. You know?
Hmm.
So the 30-year-old to the 17-year-old, we got 13 years and we
Yes.
got a lot of society changes.
Yes.
How have you gone from when bringing up the 30-year-old down to, of course, the 25-year-old and then down to the seven, especially now the 17-year-old.
17 is definitely the most difficult.
Mhm.
um, they're very difficult, and of course, a lot of things you're gonna have to just let them learn. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to just have them see what we're saying because we're old people to them. We're old, you know, like and my daughter was just saying a minute ago, like y'all, you know, what she calls y'all millennials, y'all don't know how to do anything, and I'm just like, girl, like, we're not old like you think, you know what I mean? We're wise, but old, no, but yeah, it's really difficult with the 17-year-old. My older daughters, they do try to instill in her a lot of the things that I instill in them. And I know with my 25-year-old, she constantly tells me, like, it might took me a while to finally see things you said to me 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Whatever, like that you were right. And of course, you go through that phase.
Well, it's a cycle. We all go
Yeah.
through it.
You hope that they don't go through it, but you can't stop
Part
them.
of being a
You
kid.
know what I mean? It is hard being a kid. You just don't want them to touch every fire. And it's really hard just watching it, you know what I mean? Because it's hard out here, you know what I mean? Again, that whole social media aspect and like the fake self-esteem that you see on social media and everybody's like acting
Mhm.
like their lives are just like peachy cream, and it's like that's how I have to constantly reiterate to them that's not real. I promise you that's not real. I promise you they have things going on in their lives. I promise you, and I have to constantly do that with them. And that's just the process. And she's 17 now, so she'll be 18 this year, and she'll be out in the world and she'll see for herself. And the good part about pouring it in them, they may not get it now. You know what I mean? But they hang on some of those words. You know what I mean? And when those things present themselves and they come like face to face with it, they're going to see, oh, that's that thing, you know what I mean, that my mom was talking about. Oh, these things really don't mean that much. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Mhm.
these are the important things in life, not these things. And that's what you want. Because those are the things that's gonna bring the real, you know what I mean, to them. Is the reality, and yeah, all of that other stuff is just superficial.
What was some of the things you did as a single mom to again stay upbeat, stay positive to try and overcome a lot of the things that you were facing, including breaking up with kids' fathers and things of that nature? Like, how were you able to maintain sanity and keep going?
I really did pour my focus into my kids. Um, with my mother, I always used to look at my mother like anything we needed, she became what we needed. And I took that with my kids to another level, and I wanted to be her and more. I wanted to make sure that I was always communicating with them and talking with them and giving them the real. And even if they didn't like me in the moment, like I used to tell myself, I literally used to say hate me now, love me later. I used to always tell them that, like, hate me now, love me later. Like it's fine. They'll thank me later. I was the queen of that. But just teaching them about things to, when it comes to them having kids, you know what I'm saying? And all of that. Like I poured my focus on just like trying to make their lives good and trying to teach them. I wanted to teach them more than anything in the world. I just wanted them to know, you know what I mean? Like these are my mistakes, and I was always really, really bluntly honest with them about everything, like these are my mistakes and I need y'all to really pay attention and don't do this because I've done that, and I did a lot of that to them. Even to this day, I still do that to them. And my kids like, oh, like,
No, it takes a lot to be able to do that, to admit your faults to
of course.
anybody, and even more
Absolutely.
so to your children.
Especially
Like,
your kid.
what, how are you able to do that? Like, what propelled you to get to that point in your life where you can say, you know what, I'm just gonna tell them the truth, and they just gotta understand this is life, and I know it'll help them. But for you personally, how were you able to get to that point in being able to share your faults with your children?
Well, one, God, learning that I am a human. And like I used to tell my kids, I am a human being. I'm just a girl. That's it. I'm just a girl. I had some kids, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm just a girl, you know what I mean? And I'm going to make mistakes. And I started out when they were really, really young. Like if I did things or if I yelled at them or they felt some kind of way, like going to school, it would bother me. So I would go up to the school and pull them out of class, and just apologize to them. And I'm
Wow.
sorry, you know what I mean? Like I'm just human. I didn't mean to do that. I make mistakes, that type of thing. And I also like tried to keep like a really open dialogue with my kids when they were coming up so they could talk to me about anything. I didn't want them to be afraid of that because I saw girls that was like their friends that killed themselves or something because they couldn't talk to their mom or they got pregnant or whatever it was, you know what I mean? And they got so scared, you know what I mean? When I used to go, I'd go to a funeral and I would see those kids And I would think, not my kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I
Right.
want my kids to come to me and talk to me.
Do the older ones, especially the 30-year-old, try to talk to the 17-year-old?
Yes. They treat her like a baby. They don't let her grow
Mhm.
up, so they don't want
And
to talk to her about that.
and do you feel that she'll listen to them more because she's that mom, type thing, or don't be another mom? I mean, what type of reaction
It's
do?
funny because I see similar things in her, even though she's different. I see a lot of the similar things in her where she'll run into the problem once the problem happens, and then it's like, "Oh, mom, you told me." Like she's doing that same thing. So like, I guess I'm happy for at least that much. You know, so
Yeah,
that means
Mhm.
that she's listening to some degree.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing. And I just want to say like. Always, and I know people probably like hate to hear this, but always say fathers are more important than moms when it comes to like kids' self esteem. Moms are very kind and loving and will baby you and all that stuff, but dads, they create self worth. I don't know any females that didn't have a father that didn't suffer from that. I don't know any. You know what I'm saying? And they all seem to have similar traits. And I just really dug into that thought, you know what I'm saying? And really just like paid attention because I used to watch my daughters want their dad, you know what I'm saying? And it was a hard thing to watch knowing how I was. Cause I was like I wanted my dad. I was that girl. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
until I got about 22, you couldn't have told me. You couldn't. I don't care how much I didn't see him. You couldn't have said nothing about him. Like I just wanted him so badly. You know what I mean? And so much of my life took a turn because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like the men that I dated, like just how I moved as a teenager, like all of that was just me searching for that thing. You know what I mean? I used to have dreams about it, and
Yeah.
it was that thing that I wanted so desperately.
Right.
And I sit back and I watch my daughters go through that. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I knew like I had to educate them. I had to let them know, you know what I mean? Like don't make certain moves, you know what I'm saying? Because these are the things that happen when the kid doesn't have a father, and they're going to suffer these things, you know what I mean? And you don't want to be responsible for that. So make good decisions, you know what I mean, on like who you pick, and who you're with and
Right.
things like that, because that's something that you as a mother cannot, you can't fix that. You can pour into them all you want to. I pour all the love in the world to my kids, you know what I mean? But you can't fix that thing, you know what I mean? And they will go through certain things because of that. Until they get to a place where they can be settled with it, it's like they will go through that, you know what I mean? Because I mean, even now as a 48-year-old woman, like I still have little bats with it here and there. You know what I mean? I definitely embraced it and came to like a really nice place with it, but I still have it. You know what I mean? It's something that's just kind of deeply rooted in you. And yeah, I would definitely say anybody who's dealing with that to really, really find that root. You know what I mean? That root
Right.
of whatever that low self worth is. Find that root, and again, look for yourself. Find yourself. You know what I mean? And teach your girls the same thing. Because they're gonna be moms. You know what I mean? And it's not gonna be any good if they go out and just pick people and have kids by people who's not gonna be a part of that kid's life, and that kid grows up with these same issues. It's like an epidemic. You know what I mean? How much it is. It's really sad.
So being at that place now where you can kind of enjoy life a little bit, what's like on your bucket list? Like, what are some of the things you want to do?
I always tell people I've been mommying for 31 years. I literally have been mommying 31 years straight. No breaks. You know what I'm saying? Because of how I set my kids up.
So what's that break going to be?
Relax. I really do just I want to get some land. I want about 10 acres, 5, 10 acres, and just relax.
Chill.
Yep, just stay there. I can come back into the madness at any point, but when I'm home, I just want to be there.
Do you want to travel anywhere? Do
Oh
you want to?
gosh, yes. I want to travel. I do meditation, so like I want to teach meditation. I want on the grounds. I actually want to have like a little meditation section where moms can come and get away, and you know what I mean, and just have that moment. I'm really heavy into meditation, and yeah, that's the goal. So I'm getting there. I am definitely getting there. It's kind of exciting. I can see the end. Even though there's no real end, right?
You keep going every
Right,
day,
yeah,
every
you
day.
get there, but you still the responsibility part definitely lessens and
Right,
Are there parts of your business now, the interior design, where again learning how to deal with self esteem? Because I know things happen in that industry a lot. A lot of things go wrong. How has your journey helped you be able to get through any pitfalls you may have faced in that area of your life?
I think gaining self esteem, self worth, and understanding of just life. You know what I'm saying? Itself it helps me a lot because at the end of the day, we are all just people. We are all just people, and anything that comes up, like with somebody or like with the business or even just interacting with people on the regular, you have to understand that everybody's in different places and you know what I mean, mentally and like learning how to work with all different types of people, no matter where they're at. And one thing that I really value about like what I do, like as a designer, um, I love I, designing is not just decorating your house. It truly is creating an atmosphere. It truly is like creating something of value. You know what I'm saying? And when you walk into these spaces, and you feel the value, you feel all this hard work that you out here working all day,
right,
40 hours, 60 hours a week, whatever. You see it when you come home. You know what I mean? And you get to relax in that. You know what I mean? And you're creating these spaces that represent you.
right.
That's a really big deal. And I think just just watching people feel good, like people who've been through a lot, you know what I mean? Just watching what they feel when the spaces are done and when they come in, it's just like that's a really big deal for me. Um, yeah, and just like accepting people for like where they are. They're just people, you know what I mean? And it's like we figure out in this world, you know what I mean, as we grow older, especially now, it's like there are there are really important things in life and there are non-important things in life. Whereas we learn what those are as we get older. You
I
think
see.
it's a whole other thing. It's almost like a flip from
Right.
young to old, and it's like, and I'm not saying old, but I'm just saying like older.
Older.
Age is only a number.
Right. As you get older and you start really understanding like what's really important, peace is important, you know what I mean? And like again, people being able to be themselves, you know what I mean, and without crazy judgment, you know what I mean? Just
Right.
just relax because the thing is if people put so much pressure on other people to be something, you know what I mean? And it's like no, yeah, because we all got issues. You know what I mean? Every last one of us. There's not a
Right.
soul on this planet that don't have an issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you understand that, then you can be more
They're
sympathetic.
just different issues.
Yeah, it's just different
Right.
issues. That's all. And yeah, that's what it's taught me in my business.
Great. Well, we want to thank you very much, Toya, for being on the show.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you. And Randy, any last words? Or
No. I mean, just again, I think a lot of people have, those self-esteem issues, and we always just try and give people a path out, to positivity.
Right.
And we always hear different stories from different people, and your story is just as amazing as everyone else's. So, we thank you for coming and sharing that with us. And we know your story will help other people,
I hope so.
come out of maybe a dark place they are in and been trying to get out for a while. So,
just one
thank you.
quick question before we close. Is that 10 acres or whatever going to be in warm climate or is it going to be in Michigan? Michigan? All right. Sounds good.
Yes.
If you'd like to be a guest or know anyone who would like to be a guest on Talking Positive with Randy and Alan, call us at 313-454-1104 or email us at talkingpositivepod@gmail.com. Go out there and have a positive day.
See you next time.